From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, as Billings students head back to class next week, they will not have to pack a mask in their backpack. Just one day after the Billings Education Association said no to a mask mandate for teachers and other staff, School District 2 Superintendent Greg Upham announced today that masks will also be optional for students. Well, that news delivered to parents and students early this afternoon, but the announcement does not mean that Upham can't change his mind if numbers start to climb. The superintendent took to his regular Facebook Live communication to relay that news. He says although masks will not be mandated as the school year begins, the district will monitor numbers closely and work closely with Riverstone Health. Now, the county will do all of the contact tracing, but the district will send a letter to parents as soon as possible to let them know if their child could possibly have been exposed to a positive case. As the community watches this unfold, the superintendent reserves the right to change his mind.
We need to be prepared for everything and anything. If we see case counts go beyond what we term acceptable, I will call for a mask mandate at that time. That is a prerogative of this office, and so we will use the tools that we have in place to assist with that and work from there.
Now, this decision comes amid widely conflicting opinions across the community as parents, medical experts, and students air their beliefs. Well, today, the state confirms another 499 cases, pushing the number of active COVID-19 cases across Montana to 3,269. Yellowstone County added another 48 cases, bringing the county total to 421 active cases. That's the third highest in the state. Flathead County has the most at 681 active cases, followed by Cascade County with 600. Well, the superintendent approached the Billings Education Association president yesterday wanting to implement a mask mandate for all staff at the K through 8 level. Now, the union denied that request, but says it will highly encourage staff to wear masks. Upham also announced today that the district has set up free testing at St. John's for all students, staff, and their families this year. Well, here's a look at the other large school districts across the state. Billings currently falls in line with Kalispell and Great Falls. Students in Missoula, Butte, and Helena will have a mask mandate as the year kicks off, and Bozeman has not yet reached a decision. Nationally, in light of recent high-profile crime cases, activists across the nation are calling on police officers to wear body cams. Well, now Billings police are the latest in Montana to strap them on and start recording. As Q2's Andrea Lutz reports, it's a tool they've wanted for years, but a lack of storage stood in the way. Billings police officers now have a brand new tool that they're working with. When they arrive on scene now, they're going to pull out this camera, hit this button, start rolling.
Never before seen footage straight from the chest of a Billings police officer. In this, you can see him throw spike strips onto the roadway.
A visual perspective from the officer.
He went off the road on the shoulder to get around spikes.
Now this footage can be used as evidence in a case if need be.
The national narrative has been body cams to put on cops because they're doing stuff wrong. These body cams will far do better for our officers than it will damaging or create a viral video or catch a bad incident.
Officer Amanda McKnight has been wearing hers for 3 weeks now.
Just provides us with another vantage point of what we're dealing with.
The department purchased roughly 90 of them, budgeting $250,000 from CARES Act funding for the devices themselves and all the capacity to store the footage.
We've always had car cameras, backseat cameras of prisoner compartments.
However, Lieutenant Brandon Woolley says it was never from the perspective of an officer.
By and large, what it's going to really show now is the realities of the job and the great work that the officers of this department do for the community.
Officer McKnight says they can't possibly catch every detail.
It's not going to catch 100% of everything we're seeing. Obviously, officers are mobile. We can turn our heads, our eyes can move in different directions.
But when it comes to accountability, it helps.
The more help we get, the more help they get, to make sure that we're doing the right thing, but also wearing it so that when we're complained on or a complaint's made, it can validate that we did do the right thing.
And it gives the public a better eye of what actually goes on with our police force. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Thanks, Andrea. Now, Willie says there will be an ongoing expense for the body cams that will have to be addressed for the long term. It's something the police department will factor into its budget going forward.
On Thursday, Montana medical and nursing organizations representing thousands of healthcare workers across the state came together with a unified message. Get vaccinated and wear a mask to knock down COVID numbers, protect communities, and help keep kids in school this fall.
We want to avoid following the path of other regions in our country where these numbers have become so large and are putting untenable stress on their schools and healthcare systems.
With continued COVID case growth in the last month, Montana has entered another wave of the pandemic. The 7-day average is 300 daily cases and 60 deaths have been reported since July 19th. The organizations say the data shows the current wave has the potential to overwhelm Montana's healthcare systems. And with the school year returning, may lead to more kids and classes being quarantined.
Kids have already sacrificed so much during the pandemic. Many have struggled with remote school, and not everyone has had access to internet or technology. School is not only important for education, it's important for social and emotional health. Part of a child's normal development involves interacting with peers in person, so the best thing we can do for our kids is to keep school in session and to do our best to make it safe for children to attend.
The medical organizations also expressed frustration over House Bill 702, which prohibits Montana medical institutions and nursing homes from requiring vaccinations of any form from their staff. The Biden administration this week announced they plan to withhold Medicaid and Medicare funding from nursing homes that did not fully vaccinate staff. HB 702 does have an exemption that would allow Montana nursing homes to require vaccinations and not violate state law. Long-term care facilities MTN spoke with said that funding is critical, but worry vaccine holdouts will quit rather than get vaccinated, leaving them even more short-staffed. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen has taken the unusual step of inserting himself into a local assault case that stems from a fight involving someone who refused to wear a face mask in a Helena restaurant. Knudsen's office told the county prosecutor to drop gun charges against the defendant, but the prosecutor refused. Last November, Rodney Smith of Helena was charged with felony and misdemeanor assault and for illegally carrying a concealed weapon in a restaurant. The charges were filed after Smith allegedly assaulted employees at the Hokkaido restaurant when they told him to wear a face mask, and then allegedly threatened them by revealing his holstered gun and saying he would get them. The case was scheduled for trial this month. But in late July, the third-ranking lawyer in Knudsen's office sent Lewis and Clark County Attorney Leo Gallagher a letter asking him to hold off on the case and send over the case file. Then last week, the AG's office told Gallagher to drop the 2 concealed weapon charges.
It looked like a political prosecution. You know, you've got a Democrat County Attorney, Leo Gallagher, who's on the ballot next year, took a look at this and saw some opportunities to score some political points with his base and prosecute 2 charges that the statute's not even on the books anymore.
Narrison is correct on that last point. Republicans in the 2021 legislature relaxed gun laws this February, and it's now legal to carry a concealed weapon in a restaurant or bar, or in some cases without a permit. But Gallagher said those actions weren't legal last November and refused to drop the charges.
My reply to that request was that there was probable cause to bring those charges, and I could not and would not comply with that order because it was inconsistent with my oath of office.
He also noted that this is his last term in office and he's not running for re-election next year. Gallagher told Knudsen's office to take over prosecution of the case if it wants to dictate how to run it, and it has. Then he learned that Smith's lawyer has been involved in settlement negotiations with the Attorney General's office. Gallagher said the Attorney General has authority to get involved in local prosecutions, but that it's rare and usually happens only at the request of the prosecutor in complex cases.
I've been practicing law since 1978. I have spent all of those years involved in either defending or prosecuting cases in the criminal arena. I've never heard of a case such as this occurring.
Narrison says the facts of the case may not be as presented by Gallagher's office.
Once the prosecution's over and some of these more details come to light, I think it will be clear that there's a different set of facts. And again, it's a he said, she said case is what it comes down to.
But if there's a settlement, will we hear the entire facts of the case? The answer to that question is now in the hands of the Attorney General's office. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. Now, the Tribal Public Health Conference wrapped up today in Billings. Q2's Brandon Warren was there to show us the special ending.
A healing ceremony was held at the Tribal Public Health Conference. The ceremony was aimed at healing the hurts left from countless missing, murdered Indigenous people.
There's such a disparity in the numbers of the Indigenous people that go missing and are murdered, not only in the state of Montana, but across the nation.
During the ceremony, they spoke of those who have gone missing or gotten murdered. They talked about their lives and how to help prevent future MMIPs.
All of the tribes are becoming, like I say, very active in it, and a lot of them now are starting to implement what's called a tribal community response plan to help alleviate and do a better response to any person that goes missing on a reservation.
They also wrapped up the conference, which lasted 3 days and focused on all aspects of tribal public health.
The conference was great. I think there was a great turnout. I think it was a time when people could share, build relationship, and as part of that sharing, they were able to get new ideas, ways in which we can help our communities and gain in public health and strengthen each other.
Organizers described the conference as a success. In Billings, Brandon Warren, MTN News.
Thanks, Brandon. Now, the conference included members from 8 different tribes throughout Montana and Wyoming. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News, right here on Q2, Town and Country Foods has been around since 1966, and now it's got a spot here in the Magic City. We'll take you shopping right after this.
Hey everybody, Scott Breen inside First Interstate Arena down here at Montana Fair, where tonight Pro Rodeo storms in. I'll let you know some of the top guns to look for over the next 3 nights at your Yellowstone River Roundup.
And it was a record chilly day, the second day in a row the Billings has set a record. Temperatures only in the 50s for the daytime highs. More on the forecast coming up.